Ray Dalio, the man who foresaw the 2008 financial crisis and accurately predicted every major market shift over decades, has, after 50 years on Wall Street, unexpectedly announced his retirement, leaving behind $160 billion. What drove him to withdraw so suddenly? A disturbing pattern that he already knows all too well. But what he now sees makes even the 2008 crisis seem like a minor issue. His latest warning is shocking and directed straight at all of us. Something big, something truly frightening is heading our way, and we should take his words seriously. Let's talk about it and also about what we can do now. So Ray Dalio has been urgently warning for months about a new financial order that will destroy our entire understanding of money. His prediction, something worse than a recession is coming. But what's truly frightening is this. Take a look at him.
You have been in this field for more than 50 years. It's worth pointing out to our viewers, I think it's important to note you consider yourself to be apolitical, and you say that the tariff problem is a symptom of a much greater problem. What do you mean by that?
There is a financial problem. There is an imbalance problem. There are basically 5 big forces throughout history that drive everything. First, there is the money, credit, debt economic cycle, in which debt builds up in a cyclical manner until it becomes too large. And then we're going to have problems. We're going to have a government debt problem. Maybe we can get into this. The second big force throughout time is the internal conflict force. The differences in wealth and values between the left and the right cause conflict, and we're seeing this change our political order. So the first is changing our monetary order, the second is changing our internal political order, and then the third is the great world order. This is about how countries interact with each other when a rising power challenges the existing power. And now we are moving from multilateralism, which was largely an American-led world order, to a unilateral world order, which brings great conflict. And the other 2 factors throughout history have always been acts of nature, droughts, floods, and pandemics. And number 4 is technology. Technology is changing. And how these are coming together are the main forces behind this.
And the parallels between the current world situation and the decades before the Second World War are frightening. Low interest rates followed by a tightening of monetary policy are reminiscent of the economic turbulence of the 1930s. And this instability is further exacerbated by rising debt and inequality. Similar to the conditions that led to social unrest back then, and political polarization is not just an ideological phenomenon, it also has tangible economic effects on the USA, Germany, Europe, and so on. The increasing trade wars and protectionism are a direct result of this division and are reminiscent of the economic isolationism that preceded the Second World War. And another sign of growing uncertainty is the fact that in 2024, thousands of millionaires left their countries. And this mass exodus of the wealthy points to a deep concern about the future and is reminiscent of the flight from the turmoil of the Second World War. Overall, the parallels are therefore hard to miss. From economic instability and social inequality to political polarization and economic nationalism, the warning signs are clear. So it is crucial that we learn from history and do everything we can to prevent a similar conflict.
I want to ask you about something that's on a lot of people's minds, your predictions for the future, and I want to start with the R word. I know you think this is just one part of it. Of course, I'm talking about a recession. Do you think it is likely that the United States will slip into a recession because of President Trump's tariffs?
I think that right now we are at a decision-making point and very close to a recession. And I'm worried about something worse than a recession if this isn't handled well. A recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. And whether it just barely reaches that point, we always have those kinds of fluctuations. But what we're facing is something much more profound. We're seeing a breakdown of the monetary order. We're going to have to change the monetary order because we simply can't keep spending these amounts of money. So that's the problem we're dealing with. And when we talk about the dollar and we talk about tariffs, that's part of it. We are experiencing profound changes.
We are currently witnessing the largest migration of wealth in modern history, and smart money isn't fleeing just out of nervousness. Ray Dalio knows the exact reason for this.
We're seeing profound changes in the world order. Times like these are very much like the 1930s. I've studied history, and this pattern repeats itself over and over again. So if you consider tariffs, debt, the rising power challenging the existing power, you look at those factors and examine the patterns, those changes in the order, in the systems, are extremely disruptive.
The US debt situation is unsustainable, and we are on the verge of a point of no return. The government will be forced to print money to pay its bills, which will lead to rapid inflation and the destruction of savings.
Let's look at the budget. If the budget deficit can be reduced to 3% of GDP right now, it will be about 7% if nothing changes. If it could be reduced to about 3% of GDP and these trade deficits and so on are managed properly, all of this could be handled very well. I believe that members of Congress should take the pledge, what I call the 3% pledge, that in one way or another, they will bring the budget deficit down to that number. If they don't, we're going to have a supply and demand problem for debt at the same time as we have these other issues. And the consequences of that will be worse than a normal recession.
And Ray Dalio warns of the collapse of the global monetary system. For decades, the world was shaped by the dominance of the United States, with stable trade, low inflation, and the undisputed supremacy of the dollar. But this era is about to end, and most people have no idea what changes are now ahead of users don't even recognize them. And according to Ray Dalio, the collapse is being driven by a combination of economic, political, and geopolitical factors. An unsustainable deficit and trade wars that accelerate global decoupling are weakening the economic and international position. At the same time, political polarization threatens internal stability, while on the global stage, new powers are rising and the influence of the United States is steadily waning. So it is remarkable that Ray Dalio, a key figure in the financial world, has changed his long-held conviction. He was previously known for his statement, "Cash is trash." But now he has completely reversed this position, and this turnaround is particularly striking because Ray Dalio is considered one of the most influential investors. And the impact of these changes is enormous and could have far-reaching consequences for investment strategies worldwide. And as companies prepare for a long-term decoupling from the US and global trade flows are being restructured, live the assumptions of the past decades are collapsing, and as a result, neither Wall Street nor most investors are prepared for what is coming.
You know, we have a new order that began in 1945, a new monetary order and a new geopolitical order. And these go in cycles that can be measured, and I worry about the breakdown of that kind of order, especially since it doesn't have to happen, because there are certain things that could be done to make this a better restructuring of these debts.
And we need to understand that in a rapidly changing economic landscape, it is essential for investors to adapt their strategies and also to recognize what is currently happening. And Ray Dalio makes it unmistakably clear that a successful investment strategy today rests on several pillars. He emphasizes the importance of global diversification, stating that investments must be spread across different countries and currencies in order to effectively minimize risks, according to Ray Dalio. Furthermore, Ray Dalio recommends investing in real assets such as real estate or commodities that can withstand inflation. And he also talks about another asset. It is also important to be prepared for extreme market fluctuations or to prepare oneself accordingly, which can be achieved through a broadly diversified portfolio according to Ray Dalio, as well as a deep understanding of market mechanisms. Ray Dalio also emphasizes that traditional approaches have become obsolete and are no longer effective in the current economic environment. Investors should therefore be ready to explore new paths. In short, according to Ray Dalio, global diversification, real assets, preparation for turbulence, and openness to innovative strategies form the foundation for success in these uncertain times that are now approaching us, according to Ray Dalio. And just think about it, if someone like Ray Dalio with his impressive track record suddenly turns everything upside down, then you should pay attention or at least give it some thought. He doesn't bask in the glory of past triumphs. No, he's sounding the alarm now, and the smartest investors are already perking up their ears because the future won't look like the past. The world order as we know it, which has accumulated wealth over decades, is now crumbling. Those who adapt will survive. Those who stand still will be crushed. And Ray Dalio has recognized the signs. The question is, will you do the same? Because, as Ray Dalio has also said, it's about building wealth that can withstand any market storm while others panic and throw everything overboard. Will you be ready for what comes next? And here too, Ray Dalio offers a tip, because the legendary investor and founder of Bridgewater Associates refers to one asset in particular, Bitcoin, as a damn great invention and praises the innovation of having created a new monetary system through a programmed computer system that has been functioning for over a decade and is gaining increasing popularity. So Ray Dalio is essentially endorsing Bitcoin. He sees potential in it as an alternative store of value, even comparing it to digital gold. But Ray Dalio also warns of significant risks associated with Bitcoin. He specifically warns about the possibility of government intervention or bans if Bitcoin becomes too successful, and he also believes that this will happen because, according to Ray Dalio, the very success of Bitcoin will paradoxically pose the greatest risk to it, as governments could see it as a threat to their monetary sovereignty. So Ray Dalio suggests that you should include Bitcoin in your portfolio in a diversified portfolio, but only at a small percentage. Ray Dalio recognizes the growing acceptance of Bitcoin and its potential in a changing financial system. So, to summarize, Ray Dalio appreciates the technological achievement and disruptive potential of Bitcoin. And when someone like Ray Dalio makes such a recommendation, we should pay attention. And if you want to benefit from this, for example, by building financial independence through crypto and Bitcoin, click the link in the description below the video. Watch the video, it's free. What's important is that you take action now.